I don't know how to get everyone on the same page without endless debates. We could be solving real problems, but instead, we're stuck in meetings. If I can't align my stakeholders, they might start bypassing me altogether and question if I'm the right person for the job. For many product leaders, this isn't just a passing frustration, it's an everyday reality. In this session, we'll dive into three decision making secrets rooted in problem framing that help product leaders align even their most challenging stakeholders, no matter how many priorities are pulling them in different directions. 7 years ago, during our digital agency days, our product squads were busy wasting time and resources chasing maybe the wrong objectives. They were overwhelmed by competing priorities. They were not sure which user problems really matter. That's when we developed a solution: problem framing. By 2018, we launched this methodology at Google, enabling teams to systematically target the most critical problems before diving into solutions. The results speaks for themselves. Countless companies have saved weeks of back and forth, they engage their stakeholders more effectively, and they deliver products that really resonate with their customers. If you're a product leader, chances are you know the feeling of juggling business objectives, design needs, engineering constraints, and customer needs. All that while trying to keep your senior leadership happy. If that sounds familiar, do drop a comment about your biggest roadblock and let's see how these principles might help you tackle it. Let's talk about senior leadership. Sometimes senior leaders can seem like obstacles, especially when they bring conflicting perspectives to the table. But here are four truths you need to know about your senior leaders that can drastically change the way you approach them. I heard this so often from teams we work with. Get ready, my stakeholders really love to talk. Actually, what senior stakeholders need is to be heard and validated, especially by peers at the same level. When they appear difficult, it's often because they've never been given like a real platform to share priorities and concerns, and now being heard and validated is a basic human need we all share. But for senior leaders, it's amplified by the weight of their roles. And that's exactly where problem framing can make a big difference. In a structured, facilitated workshop, every leader gets a dedicated space to speak while everyone else practices active listening. It's about more than just hearing words, it's about making leaders feel respected and acknowledged. When you meet that fundamental need, alignment on those mission critical decisions becomes much easier. Most senior leaders don't thrive in uncertainty. And let's be honest, when you ask for a decision without solid data or insights or anything, you're effectively inviting leaders to guess in the dark. And that uncertainty breeds anxiety. Faced with anxiety, people usually pick one of two paths: flight or fight. In fight mode, they'll challenge your ideas, your opinions, maybe even your entire thought process, saying things like, "What makes your thinking better than mine?" In flight mode, they'll delay, postpone, or avoid decisions altogether. They will tell you they need more time, they need to think about it, let's just wait and see. Sure, some leaders handle ambiguity better than others. They have a very high tolerance for uncertainty. But let's face it, they're very rare. That's why problem framing tackles uncertainty head on. This process forces you to gather user insights, market data, and other evidence before you drag everyone into a big meeting. This approach, grounded in facts, not just opinions, calms anxiety, builds trust, and helps leaders feel more comfortable when they're making those choices. Three, senior leaders operate at a helicopter view. There's no surprise here. The higher you climb, the more likely you are to view the problem from 30,000 feet, what we often call a helicopter view. Sure, that perspective is incredibly powerful for making those big decisions, but it also comes with a trade off. They lose touch with ground level details, and without the nuances of what actually is happening day to day, even well intended decisions can veer off course. Problem framing helps your stakeholders zoom in on critical details and zoom out to see the broader strategy, all in a single facilitated sessions throughout the magic of data visualization. So, what is data visualization exactly? If a visual helps you understand the data, that's data visualization. Let's say you're exploring food waste in an office canteen. A zoomed in visual might break down each step of the process, from ordering supplies to discarding leftovers, revealing specific pain points and specific opportunities. On the flip side, a global view of food waste won't focus on small steps. It reveals high level trends such as cost impacts or sustainability metrics across multiple locations. This broad perspective helps leaders make more strategic decisions. But why does visualization work so well? Well, speed. Our brains process visuals 60,000 times faster than text, like lightning bolt compared to a snail. And then there's credibility. When data is presented as text alone, 68% of people tend to believe it. But when findings are presented visual, that number jumps to 97%. That's almost everyone. So, why does data visualization have such a huge impact? It's because it engages more areas of the brain, which improves comprehension, retention, and trust. People are more likely to remember and act on information they can see, not just read. So when senior leaders at that helicopter level have the capacity to easily switch perspectives, they make decisions faster and tend to act on them sooner. With problem framing, you'll leverage this with visuals like customer journey maps, service blueprints, or ecosystem maps, where you lay both the forest and the trees. Truth number four, it's lonely at the top. Senior leaders often operate in silos too. We used to think about silo teams in engineering or design, but silos can be even worse at the senior leadership level. Sure, leaders see the big picture, but they're often missing crucial context from their peers. They're dealing with different KPIs, deadlines, and incentives, so it's no wonder aligning them can feel like herding cats. For example, your director of product might have no clue why your senior director of finance insists on a restructuring right now instead of next quarter. With problem framing, you create a space where senior leaders can justify their needs by explaining their context and decision making criteria. During these stages, understand the context and justify the business need. Each leader lays out their constraints and also their priorities. And this way, they break down those silos and move forward with more clarity. Suddenly, your director of finance insistence of restructuring makes more sense to your director of product. Now that we have a shared understanding of the senior leadership context, how does problem framing address these challenges? Here are three principles rooted in problem framing. One, strategic empathy. Really knowing your stakeholders, their motivation, anxieties, and their success metrics. It is a strategic advantage. Empathy here is not about warm and fuzzy feelings. It's about being relentless in understanding what your stakeholders care about and why they might resist certain decisions. Two, evidence based decision making. Opinions can spark ideas, but data seals the deal. By collecting user insights, market data, and other evidence, you reduce uncertainty and ensure discussions aren't just based on gut feelings. And three, effective data visualization. Turning data into visuals makes it actionable and more credible. It also helps senior leaders at that helicopter level to zoom in on the details and zoom out to see the broader trends, which is key if we want effective decision making. So, let's recap. Aligning stakeholders doesn't have to be a battle of opinions. Problem framing, rooted in strategic empathy, real data, and data visualization, creates a structured environment that meets three critical needs. One, leaders need a stage to be heard and validated. Two, they need concrete data to ease their uncertainty. And three, they need to see both the high level view and the granular details to make confident decisions. That's it for today. Like this video if you found it helpful and subscribe for more insights on stakeholder alignment, decision making, and idea validation. Thank you for watching and see you next time.